thank you for coming. And as I say, I'm expecting this to be about 25 minutes max. And it's just, there's no particular if you're expecting a great revelation, there's none coming. What there is lots of positive and exciting news about what's happening this year. There's so many things that I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce some key people and explain what's going on. But before I get on to that, I want to invite Rebecca to open us in prayer.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with us as we take counsel for the renewal and mission of your church and of this church, St. James. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Somebody gave me an article recently about clergy burnout, because it is true that sadly over the pandemic was hard for all of us, and apparently clergy particularly suffered, and I'm sure that's true. But as I read the article, I found that it wasn't resonating with me, simply because I feel the opposite at the moment of whatever burnout is. Maybe it's some sort of rekindling or something, but I feel very energized for what lies ahead, especially in the next year or so here at St. James. And a big cause of that is that I'm so excited to be working with a wonderful staff team. And we've had a wonderful staff team for some time, and you'll hear in these next few minutes that we've made some changes and additions to that team. That's one of the things that I want to share. So I want to introduce a couple of those, the team that we have, beginning with Leighton Jones, who's going to come to the front. And while she does, Leighton is our Director of Children's and Youth Ministries, and she's had a role reversal with Gabby, who many of us know. Gabby has taken a full-time job, and I'm delighted to say that Gabby is still with us. She works now with the younger children, doing the godly play, which she's brilliant in, and Leighton has taken on the more sort of administrative role, and so that's worked out very well. Before I give you the mic, though, Leighton, okay, I do want to say that Leighton is married to DeWitt over there, and their coming amongst us has been a great blessing, because you might have noticed DeWitt at the front, and he's taken on our acolyte corps and is really doing a great job training and encouraging them. They're also they are also the parents of, I can't really say the cutest of all our acolytes, but Owens is spectacularly good as an acolyte.
I'm glad she's not in here. Yeah,
it's good. So anyway, without further ado, Leighton.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, church. I wanted to thank you all for letting me come and just give you a little spiel about Children and Youth Ministries. I did this right after the 8 o'clock service as well. So if you don't know me, my name is Leighton Jones. I've been working with the children and youth for about 1.5 years at St. James, and just recently took on the role as Director of Children and Youth. So everyone from 0 to 18 falls in that bracket. Some of the big changes is kind of what I wanted to address and what the fall is going to look like for us, and I wanted to present it to you. You can find all this information in the Chimes article. Also on the website, we have 2 Instagram accounts, one for children and one for youth, that's updated all the time with our happenings and what's going on and things like that. And also we do have a bulletin board that will be in all of its glory by Rally Day. But one of the big changes is that we've really divided up our Sundays into 3 components. We're doing education, worship, and community. And what that looks like is that everyone, children and youth, will meet outside the courtyard gate at 8:45 to 9 o'clock, where they'll get registered, and then they'll go with their leaders to develop in their faith development with the education hour. And that's where we're going to see our curriculums come into play. And then at around 9:45, everyone will meet back into the courtyard and we're going to come into church. So again, you're going to be seeing the children and the youth in church this year. They have little leaflets, things to do. And then at a certain time in the right after the gospel is read, the children, 5th grade and younger, will leave with the crucifer, and we'll continue, Gabby and I will continue their worship in the courtyard. We'll have feast, we'll sing songs. When it gets closer to Christmas, they'll learn the Christmas pageant out there. So that is, and then at 11 o'clock is our community time. So we're already out on for the past year, you've probably seen us. We bring games, we have refreshments, and that's just a time for all of us as a parish to talk. So I encourage you, when you see the children and youth out there, to talk about, just go up and talk to them and ask like how God's speaking to them today. The other big change is our age groups have changed a little bit. We've divided the children and youth ministries. You might see the kids, they're going to come in here. They're doing a Bible verse scavenger hunt for cookies, and there is a clue at Mary. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So our age groups are a little bit different. We divided them to 5 different groups, 3 for children and 2 for youth. So our children's ministry starts in the nursery, 0 to 3. We'll have 2 teachers up there, and they will be doing a very light version of Godly Play, but still building that foundation. And then the 4th through 2nd grade will be with Gabby in the Godly Playroom, doing the Godly Play curriculum. And we're really excited because we're finally going to be able to utilize that space again, something that we didn't get to do during COVID. And then there's the 3rd through 5th graders. We call them upper elementary, and they're going to be led by me in the gallery. We're going to be utilizing the ECC, which is an Episcopal curriculum. And all of our children in the fall will have the theme of covenant. So we're going to be looking at some of the Old Testament stories, God's covenant to his people and what that looks like to us today. And then we have, of course, our youth. We have the middle school, 6th through 8th grade. They will continue. Last year, we implemented this Bible study breakfast up in the loft. They'll continue to do that. And they're going to be using the Right 13, which is Journey to Adulthood. It's an Episcopal curriculum as well. So they'll be looking at that, and their theme will be in God's image. And what does that mean, especially to that age group? And then our high schoolers, they're going to be your 9th through 12th graders, and they're our different group. They're the only ones that will not be meeting at 9 o'clock for their education. They requested that they meet after church at 11. So I'll be leading that in the gallery. We'll have food, and we're using 3 different curriculums for them. They're going to be using Journey to Adulthood, which is the continuation of the Right 13 that middle school is using. They're also going to be using the African Bible study method to really dig deeper into the gospel readings that they're hearing every week. And then we're also going to use the tools from faith2go.org, which is the Episcopal Diocese website. It has a lot of really good tools. So those are the ways that we're going to be teaching our children during the education hour. So of course we understand that faith development is not just on Sundays. So we will be having a lot of events for each of these age groups are combined and really trying to reach out into the community and bring people into us. And so we've got lots of ideas about date nights and, how can we better accommodate Rebecca when she has Wednesday night adult ed, making sure that we're having child coverage so that we can have the young families come in. So this is what this leads into, is how can you serve children and youth ministries? I would really appreciate y'all to just think about the different age groups, think about what I've told you, and pray about it. If you are interested in leading a group, a particular group, please email me. The curriculums are awesome. There's a lot of resources, a lot of tools, so you're not like, there's just a lot of ways that you could take it. So if you're really artsy, you could, create this mural with a child. It's 45 minutes if you're interested in being a teacher. We just need a commitment of 9 to 9:45. I would have everything set up for you. Maybe you're interested in being a volunteer, just an extra set of hands for Gabby in the Godly Playroom, or you want to hold a baby in the nursery. Let me know. We would love to have you if you're interested in helping us with events or bringing feast. We definitely have a lot of volunteer opportunities for you. I specifically really need help in that 3rd through 5th grade upper elementary. So if that's a calling of yours, you could sign up just one Sunday during the fall. So as little or as much as you want to give us, but I would love for everyone to get involved with their children and youth. So.
Thank you, Leighton.
Yes. All right.
Now I'm going to ask Alex to tell us something about music for the fall.
Thank you, Father Mark. Good morning. It's a privilege to be here and to serve as your music director and to talk to you this morning. We've spent a great deal of time planting seeds in music ministry, and I'm pleased to say that they've sprouted, and that this year is a time where we're going to see fruit, which is great. So I want to start by saying that last year we had the first St. James music series post-COVID. We had 3 wonderful concerts, and to my surprise, we sold out all of them. So this year we have 4 concerts, and they're even more robust and more world-renowned people coming. So I encourage everyone, if you've not attended the St. James Music Series before, have a look at the website, stjamesmusicseries.com, or your issue of the Chimes this month for more information. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, and we're really excited about everything that's coming in this music series. The organ, as you can see, is in a much different condition than it was when we spoke last. The building is in a much different condition than we spoke last, and I'm so thrilled with the progress that we've made, and I thank you for your patience while we've made it. Our organ campaign, first I'll tell you about the money, because I know that's what everyone wants to know about, and then I'll tell you about the schedule. The money is going really well. We've raised just about $3.3 million out of 3.5, so we're nearly there. And what's even more impressive than that is thanks to your generosity, and a huge thank you to everyone in the room that's contributed, we've actually received more than $3 million of that already, which has enabled us to pay all of our bills and keep things going in the most efficient way. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have every confidence that we'll be able to announce a successful campaign at the end of this. So, not without your help. If you've not yet become a part of the organ project, just have a word with me, or if you know someone who might like to contribute to the organ project, there's still time. And it's not just the beautiful organ, but it's also the lights that we can now all see with. It's the sound that you can hear me with, the wonderful new handicap ramp that we have coming in the door, the paint in the interior of the church as it improves. So your gift helps all of those things. Thank you. The organ builders will arrive on September 20th. They'll be here from September 20th through the end of September, just a short time. During that time, they'll be installing the first round of pipes and making them sound and speak, as we say. So we'll be outside 1 week and on September 25th, and when we come inside on October 2nd, we will be singing to the sounds of the new organ, which I'm extremely excited for. I hope you are too. Not just to get rid of the temporary organ, but a lot in part to get rid of the temporary organ. But it'll be a wonderful way to sing hymns and to hear music together. We will have limited numbers of pipes as they become available and speaking throughout the fall, and then we'll have one final big installation right after Christmas when it doesn't interrupt our scheduling. So I'm particularly excited about that. I know that it will continue to look better and better and sound better and better as we come along. So I want to thank all the members of the organ committee that are here today, everyone who's contributed to the organ project, and especially Father Mark and Mother Rebecca for their help in the organ project while it's been a disruption to all of us. The last thing I want to say is on the theme of bearing fruit. As we hear the new organ, I will be joined by a wonderful new part-time organist colleague named Bruce Neswick, who will be, you can read more about this in this month's issue of the Chimes. Bruce is recently retired. In fact, he will be retiring in a couple of weeks and joining us a little later on after a very, very distinguished career and long tenure in the Episcopal Church as one of our foremost church musicians in the United States. And he'll be retiring and moving to San Diego with his husband, and they'll be joining us here in a part-time capacity at St. James. So we're incredibly blessed by this development, and I can't wait for you to meet Bruce because he's the nicest person that you will meet. Bruce is known to us because he was with us in April. He was a guest of ours at the Sunday morning service and led a retreat with the choir, a wonderful evensong weekend at the Bishop's School. So the members of the choir already know Bruce, and once you get to know Bruce, you'll know that once you meet him, you're a longtime friend. So anyhow, I look forward to introducing you to Bruce and to the new organ and to the music series and to everything that's coming up this year. The choir returns next week. We're so excited to get the season underway. If you have been thinking about joining the choir, or you know someone that loves to sing, send them my way. We'd love to have them be a part of our choir family. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I have a few bits and pieces to give you updates on. The first being finances, just to say that they're looking solid at the moment. Our income and expenditure are just about what we'd expect halfway through the year. If anyone would ever like news on our finances, then just let me know. We're always happy to share the latest figures that we have with anyone who's interested. Staffing, as I mentioned, we're blessed with a terrific staff team that's going to get even better over these next couple of months. So Alex has talked about Bruce Neswick, and I'm extremely pleased that he's coming as our artist in residence. He's going to be a great asset. Also, many of you have met Christina, who's about to wave her hand, who is our new curate. So Christina has a particular interest in work with young adults and our pastoral ministry. She's not yet ordained. She'll be ordained in February. So this is a sort of easing in period, but it's great to have Christina with us. And also Caitlin, who was doing our youth work and young adults work, had a baby, and so she's stopped being in paid employment here, but she's still going to be helping out with our young people. So our team continues to go from strength to strength. I wanted to have a word too about the use of our building. When I first came to St. James 6 years ago, one of the first things that struck me was how empty and rather soulless our buildings were throughout the week. And when Susan McShane, our facilities director, came a year or two ago, I said to her, let's do what we can to get the buildings busy and thriving throughout the week, and she really has done a great job doing that. One particular group that's moving in I wanted to mention, perhaps the most significant of all the bookings that have taken place, is the preschool Montessori that's going to be starting next week in the gallery and the library and the courtyard. They have a non-exclusive lease, which means that they'll be here 5 days a week from 8 till about 3, so that the expectation is that church groups have it after that time and at the weekends, and they'll clear their stuff out, so the gallery will carry on being able to be used as a gallery. They're a delightful group run by very pleasant people familiar with working in churches and the church people themselves, and I think that's going to be a great partnership. Because the building is so used, I've written a paper on how we use our buildings and the principles behind it. And if anybody wants to see that, I'd be very happy to share it with you. I've got some copies here. Any questions on that or anything else that we've said so far? I wanted to have a word about parking. An old chestnut here at St. James, but I'm convinced that this next year will be a year of growth for us. And it's always been said to me that one thing that inhibits our growth is our lack of parking. And I'm sure that's true. But we've got the possibility of being able to park at the Bishop's School on a Sunday, which I realise in American terms is a very, very long way away. But it's about probably a 5-minute walk. And so what I want to do is to have, and it might be that if that becomes a possibility, and I realise it is, it's not right next door, we might offer some sort of shuttle with a golf buggy or something. But I want to take a straw poll just to see if people think that's something worth exploring, because the hope would be that the regulars would have to just get used to coming to church. Well, would you have to get here 5 minutes earlier because you know exactly where to park? I mean, it's a new routine. So instead of driving around for 5 minutes to find somewhere to park, you know where to park and you walk 5 minutes. So good for health and everything. So anyway, I'm going to have a straw poll. Put your hand up if you think that's a good idea and you might be one to park in there. Okay, Well, I think that's worth exploring then. So Lisa Johnston is here, and she's our link with Bishop. So I think, Lisa, that's a positive encouragement to explore that. Good. And actually, if our regulars park there, it would mean that newcomers coming to St James for the first time might find it easier to park. So that would be a good thing. Thank you. Yeah.
Like a 10-seater cart to get people back and forth, because we can't be outdone by the Congregationalists or whatever they are over on Draper.
Lisa's outed me there, but that's not the main reason. But it would be nice to have a 10-seater golf cart.
If we
some of our teenagers would love to drive
it. Yes, if we can do this with the Bishop's School, it may be that you have to come in, you will sign up, sign a waiver, you'll get a parking thing. And it's just because of the liability of the school. And we have, anybody that has a school with a pool knows that water polo is king. So we've got various and sundry clubs and stuff going through there. So we would have you would have a designated spot, or we would have a designated area. But that protects you and it protects bishops. So anyway.
Thank you, Lisa. To be continued. I just want to make mention of a few tweaks that have happened in COVID, because COVID was a dreadful thing, but it did provide an opportunity, a sort of break in church life and an opportunity to change a couple of things. So the early service now happens at 8, not 7:30. We're live streaming our services, and we're live streaming this, which is a great thing to be able to do, so welcome to those watching at home. And our adult ed, which begins next week, is going to be hybrid. You know, we've now got the technology in place to make sure that we can serve the needs of the people who can't make it because they're housebound or away. So that's good. I just want to have a quick word about how we receive communion, because next week we'll be back at the high altar here, which will be nice, and we're going to continue with some of the elements that we've already put in place over COVID for receiving communion. So at the high altar, again, there'll be the option of receiving a wafer, and then the Eucharistic minister will intinct it and give it back to you. Or you could take the chalice, which for thousands of years has been the most hygienic way of taking communion, and you're welcome to take the chalice. And it's very much easier for our Eucharistic ministers if you lay hands on it, not take it, but if you could just particularly take the bottom and just guide it towards your mouth. That makes it just much easier for our Eucharistic ministers. So don't be afraid to take hold of the chalice, especially the bottom, and tilt it, but they'll take the weight. That's just a small point, but you know, as we're reinstituting things, let's begin as we mean to go on. Any questions before I hand over to Dave Wilson for a brief safety committee report? Oh, that... Thank you. That is music to my ears, because the sound here is an ongoing problem. But I think thanks to Ben, who does a great job operating it, and the new system, I think we're going to make real progress. So thank you. Dave. Oh, whilst Dave comes up, Dave has been working really hard for a year on the safety committee. And I know it's working because last week a young man came to church, nobody recognised him. He had a backpack. He was carrying a pair of shoes. And Dave said to him, "Do you want a bulletin?" He said, "No, I don't need one." So suspicions were raised. He then went straight into the bathroom. By this stage, Dave and two of the safety team have got eyes on him. He comes out of the bathroom. Dave says, "Can I help you?" He says, "Yes, I'm here to play the organ at 10 o'clock. So we are getting to be more observant, which is the point of the safe. That's our main policy, to spread the load and to have an awareness of the potential dangers amongst us from organists and other people. But Dave, over to you.
And he came back next week, and I didn't challenge him. I just wanted to... So just a couple of things I want to talk about today. You may notice, first, we've installed hand anybody that understands anything about fire safety and evacuation should have. So that's one of the reasons why, that is the reason why we changed the manhole. And most of the doors now, we need to the exterior have manholes. There's 2 or 3 that do not. Over in the library is 1 or 2. So the other thing is, just today, I don't know if you noticed it or not, some of the ushers and safety team members are wearing rubber buttons. So this is specifically something we talk about, that being able to communicate throughout the campus at any one given time to the service. And the 2 youth ministers had rubber buttons today. Custodian, this case was John, not John Taylor. John was at home and he's walking around the campus and if he sees something unusual, he will report that to us. And the folks that are in the church have just earpieces, so you never hear, you should never hear about what's happening. That's about it. That's all I do.
Thank you, Dave. I just wonder if anyone has any questions. I'm really grateful for Dave and for the very large number of people in the safety team who've taken this really seriously, and they've written a very long paper that's going to the vestry and will then be made available to the wider congregation, and each of the members of staff are filleting out the bits that are particularly relevant to their group. So we have made real progress, and I'm grateful to Dave and the others for doing that. Any final questions on that or any other business? All right, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you all very much for coming. I hope there's still coffee for those who want a nice warm drink before heading home.